What's going on, guys? Welcome to a new build for the Wolf Hunter patch. I'm going to be presenting you with my latest heavy armor stam DK build that I've been running for the last, I would say, 1 to 2 months. So I guess we're going to get right into it. So first big changes, of course, we're no longer in medium armor, we're now in heavy armor, and we're no longer a Wood Elf, and we are now a Red Guard. Big reason is Wood Elf's 21% extra stam recovery is just not going to suit this build since we are not running that much stam recovery, so Red Guard's max stam and the Adrenaline Rush passive is going to suit us more. Okay. Red Guard, of course, is, I think, the most optimal race for this. Orc works, Nord works, Argonian's perfectly fine, any of those pretty much will do you fine, but if you want to go for max stam, I think Red Guard is really what you're going to want to go for. So, for buff stats, or not all the way buffed, but we have almost 41,000 max stam, almost 26k health, 10k max magicka, only 700 stam recovery, but don't look at this and say, oh, this build's going to have really bad stam recovery. It doesn't. There's a lot of different ways that you have to restore stamina, and the stamina recovery, or the actual stamina regen that this build has, is actually not that bad. Our weapon damage is 3,400 with just Rally and the Earth and Heart passive. It goes up to about 4,900 and some change while everything's buffed up. Our resistances, are 23,000 and 21,000, and the crit resistance is at 2,400. Back bar, the stats are a little bit different. We have 42,000 max stam, 3k weapon damage, and much higher spell resistance and much higher physical resistance with the same crit resistance. For attribute points, we have everything to stam. For the food, we're using max health and max stamina. You could also use the max stat tri-stat food, dubious, Artam food, whatever you'd like, but I would highly suggest going with increased max health and max stam since you want to shoot for high stamina on this build and get as much health as you can. For the Mundus Stone, we're using the Warrior. And I guess we'll just go right into gear. So for our first set of armor, we're using the Maelstrom's Battle Axe. You can also use the Asylum's Axe. Works pretty well as well. The only difference between the Asylum's Battle Axe and the Maelstrom's Battle Axe is that the Asylum's Battle Axe restores ultimate when a target's at low health, and we use the Executioner ability. And the Maelstrom's Battle Axe is essentially just higher damage output. So if you want to have better resource management, the Asylum's Battle Axe is more for you. If you want to go for more immediate damage, the Maelstrom's Battle Axe is probably your weapon of choice. So we want to go Nerdhound on this, as well as the Asylum's Battle Axe. As for poisons, I'm using the damage health poisons. You make these by combining Fleshy Larva, Nirnroot, and Nightshade, I believe. So another big reason why we're using the Maelstrom's Battle Axe also is we get up to 4 dots that could proc with 1 attack. So if by any chance I wanna, I'll just go outside really quick, try and show you. Just slap these poisons on really quick. So it's probably not going to happen now, but you have the chance with just 1 attack, such as Crit Rush, to proc the Heavy Weapons Bleed, the Crit Rush dot, and the double dot damage poisons. So double dot damage poisons proc there, but not the initial dot from the Heavy Weapons Bleed, but I don't know if it's going to proc this time around. It just doesn't like to proc when I want it to, but anyway, there is a chance that the Heavy Weapons Bleed and the other 3 dots will proc at the same exact time, and if you're going against someone who's lower CP, you're going to melt their health right off the bat. So they'll be at 50% health already, and at that point you just do a heavy attack and then Executioner, and they probably will be dead. But anyway, yeah. Best in slot, in my opinion, is Maelstrom's Battle Axe. It is pretty difficult to get. You have to complete Maelstrom Arena, and the RNG might not be in your favor, but just keep doing it, and you might have some luck. Now we have the Spriggan's 5-piece set on the back bar. I'm just using an axe, weapon damage enchant, infused. So Spriggan's gives us max stam, weapon damage, and physical penetration. We then have a Spriggan's shield and reinforced with a max stamina glyph. Max stam, weapon damage, physical pen. No poison since we do want to maintain the weapon damage enchantment. Next up, and mind you, this is a 5-1-1 setup, so we're using 5 heavy, 1 light, 1 medium. So this is going to be our medium Bloodspawns mask. infused max stam, and this is the bonus that Bloodspawn offers us. Next, we have the Fury set, max stam infused, and this offers us max health, stam, weapon damage. And when you take critical damage, your weapon damage is increased by 30 for 6 seconds, stacking up to 25 times. So this is what's allowing us to get to close to 5k weapon damage. So next we have our light Bloodspawn Epilot, max stam, in pen, and then Bloodspawn set bonus. Everything else is essentially max stam and in pen. And then for the jewelry, a gold Spriggan's necklace, weapon damage, robust. Haven't gotten a chance to get the gold Spriggan's rings, but once I can, I'll grab those because that'll raise our stam to about 41,000 on the 2H bar and a little bit more than, I would think, 42,100 on the Sword and Shield bar. But again, it's the same thing as the necklace, weapon damage, and robust. For skills, it's pretty flexible. You're using Crit Rush, Volatile Armor, Executioner, Forward Momentum, Venomous Claw, Dawnbreaker of Smiting. Sword and Shield bar, we have Resolving Vigor, Ransack, Reverberating Bash, Absorb Magicka, Fragmented Shield, and the Spell Wall. If you don't want to use Spell Wall, you can use Temporal Guard. This will offer you minor protection at all times while you are on the Sword and Shield bar, and it's a pretty handy ultimate. The only catch to it is you're not going to get your resources back once you cast Temporal Guard. It'll just set you back to whatever your resources were 4 seconds prior. So I don't usually use Temporal Guard all too much since I do use the new Artaeum potions, or the new Lingering Health potions that you could make. So it's actually a pretty good segue into the potions that I use. So I use Essence of Immovability, Essence of Lingering Health with Minor Protection, Major Vitality, and I just have the Lingering Health and Major Vitality potions. I don't really remember how you make the Essence of Lingering Health with the Minor Protection bonus on it, but I do know for a fact it takes Mother of Pearl, which is pretty expensive and pretty rare to get. That's why I only had, at the time, maybe like 15 of them, but they're very, very strong. You're essentially unkillable for 15.7 seconds. Minor Protection on this build is really, really good, because all the way buffed up, if we have just the resistances as we see it here, so that's 27,000 spell resistance, 24,000 physical resistance. With Bloodspawn, spell resistance gets to about 31,000 some change, physical resistance is at 29,000. If we roll dodge as well, we're at 28,000 spell resistance, and I didn't really see what that was. We're at 25,000 physical resistance. So on top of Bloodspawn and on top of Minor Protection, it's pretty strong and very hard to kill this build while you have everything going on at the same time. So right, I prefer Spell Wall. Spell Wall is pretty handy when you're kiting. You pop the ultimate and all spell projectiles are reflected for no cost at all, and they could pretty much change the tide of the fight. So back to potions. So the way I have the rotation for my potions is when I initiate a battle, I always either pop my Essence of Lingering Health with Minor Protection or just a standard Lingering Health pots. And essentially what I do is if I get under, I would say, 40% stam, I won't use the Lingering Health pots anymore, but I'll switch to the Essence of Immovability just so I get max stam, a little bit of health benefit, and the immune to knockbacks, just so I don't have to CC break and expend more stamina. So if you're above 40% stamina, I would just keep sticking with the Essence of Lingering Health, because again, if you pop one of these, it's a lot of health and a lot of healing you're restoring, and the Minor Protection. And also, if you didn't know, the health that you restore every second for 48 seconds can crit, and it does stack on top of Major Mending. So you could pretty much get a 1300 heal per second for 48 seconds. So that's pretty strong. For champion points, we have 66 into Ironclad, 44 into Resistant, 34 Thick Skin, 56 LA Defender, 49 Hardy, 11 Heavy Armor Focus. You could kind of put these 11 points wherever you see, or wherever you really want them. Before this, I had them to Expert Defender, and before that, I had them to Quick Recovery. I am just kind of flip-flopping them around to see where I just like them the most. They're pretty good into Heavy Armor Focus, but again, between these three, it's wherever you'd like. 72 into Warlord, 9 into Sprinter, 75 into Tenacity, 25 Befoul, 13 Tumbling, 66 into Shadow Ward. This is not a build where you want to roll dodge at all. The only time you're going to want to roll dodge is if there's like 4 to 5 people ulting at the same time. At that point, then yes, roll dodging is going to benefit you more so than blocking. But mind you, our block only costs about 780 stamina per hit. So we do have a lot of reduced block cost because Absorb Magicka reduces... Oops. Absorb Magicka reduces our block cost by 8%, so that comes in handy. So with that reason in mind, you don't want to roll dodge all too much, because yes, we do have a lot of stamina. We can afford to roll dodge a fair bit, but once we're at low stam, it's not difficult to restore all our stam back, but it does take a little bit more time than you want it to. So just be mindful of that, especially in Battlegrounds. So furthermore, I guess I'll just explain where this build works. So the build is ineffective in duels. Big reason is we're using Fury. Fury is not a very good dueling build or one-on-one build because one person's not going to proc your Fury all the way up, simply because the majority of PvP builds don't have that much crit. So I would say the most this is procced is up to maybe 15, maybe 20, and that's against like a dot-oriented build. But this is an okay build in duels at best, because we do have a reasonably high amount of weapon damage in proportion to our max stam, so we do hit reasonably hard, and that will go higher with 15 points of Fury up. So it can work, but it's not optimal, I would say. This build works the best, I would say, in a 1vX situation or very, very small group play, because our Vigor Tex is kind of where this build shines a lot. So all the way buffed up, our Vigor right here with no Fury is at 18,000. With Fury and everything up at the same time is at about 23,000, 24,000 some change. It's ridiculously high. Our Vigor Tex, are for about 3.9 to 4K at times. It's pretty nuts. So now briefly I'll explain to you guys the rotation that I use. I'm hoping there's going to be a player that shows up, but I'm not going to count on it. But we'll just use these ads in the meantime. Is there a tankier ad up here? Yeah, this guy up here. Alright, so when I initiate a fight, I like to heavy attack Venomous Claw if I'm very close range. If I'm ranged, I prefer to just go with heavy attack Crit Rush to potentially get the heavy weapons bleed and the Crit Rush dot, and potentially the 4 poison dots at the same time. Once I'm close range, heavy attack Reverb, light attack Ransack Bash, go back to your 2H bar, and then you heavy attack Venomous Claw. And at that point, most targets, if they're less than a decent player, will be an execute, and at that point you just kind of hit Executioner and they should be dead. So, mind you, in Battlegrounds, the resource management's a lot worse, so you really want to be mindful of how much you're heavy attacking. Don't do a lot of light attacks at all, because if you just do too many light attacks, you're not going to restore enough stamina in proportion to how often you're going to be hitting people, because this is a very aggressive build. This build is very reliant with being on top of your target at all times, because with doing that, you want to heavy attack a lot, and that's how you're restoring all your stamina. Because remember, we have a lot of points into tenacity, so being very aggressive with heavy attacks is how we're going to restore a lot of our stamina, along with pressing Igneous Shield or Fragmented Shield, whichever one you're using, Redguard passive, and so on and so forth. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed before, but on top of our Maelstrom's Battle Axe, if you don't want to use the damage health poisons, we do have a poison damage glyph. So what this does is it allocates pretty well to our Ardent Flame passive Combustion. So whenever you apply the poison stats effect to an enemy, you restore 500 stamina every second, once every 5 seconds. Sorry. So that's a pretty handy way we could sustain as well. So this build does sustain rather well. I think it restores about, let's see, I would say like 3-4K stamina on a heavy attack, so it's very good. And of course, with ultimates, we restore a lot of stamina and Magicka and a little bit of health as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the build. I know it was pretty fast-paced. Hope you guys absorbed everything, and I know this build caused a little bit of mystery as to what I was using in the previous 1vX videos, but it's pretty simple, not too fancy, but it's a pretty fun build. It's a pretty dedicated damage build that can be very tanky if the right conditions are met. But like I said, it's very fun for me. It's allowing me to stick with StamDK for a very difficult patch versus StamDK, but anyway, hope this build works for you guys, and have a good one.
fish.